The anime begins by showing a world far away where a beautiful yellow stone emerged, and many children were drawn to it. As time passed, people from all over the world began to study the stone, fascinated by its mysterious powers. But one day, a black stone appeared, which was massive in size and carried a horde of monsters with it. The monsters from the black stone wrought havoc on humans, animals, and plants alike, and people began to lose hope in their fight against them. Just when all seemed lost, a savior appeared, a music art and conductor who possessed mystical powers and could fight using music. Meanwhile, in a bustling city, a young boy named Jimmy listened intently to this ancient tale as his mother recounted it to him. She promised that Jimmy would soon learn about music, which had the power to save humanity. Jimmy was curious, as he had never heard music before, and so he set out to explore the city. As he wandered from store to store, Jimmy stumbled upon an abandoned building. In the center of the building lay a piano, encircled by a fence. On the piano was a mysterious inscription that read, "If one day music should return." Jimmy then examined the piano, and shortly after a young man named Takt Asahina suddenly appeared before him. Takt explained to Jimmy about the piano and its significance, and then proceeded to try it out himself. Upon playing the piano, Takt discovered that it was still in excellent condition. Jimmy, curious about this thing called music that his mother had promised to teach him, asked Takt if the piano was music. Takt smiled and began to play a piece of music that surprised and delighted everyone around them. He continued to play as Jimmy watched in amazement. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion, and a large blue-skinned and white-haired creature appeared before them. It was D2, one of the monsters born from the Black Stone. Takt realized that the monster was attacking the piano, and immediately began to play Beethoven's Symphony No. 5, hoping to fend off the creature with his music. To Takt's surprise, every note he played emitted a beam of energy that hit the D2 monster, weakening it significantly. However, the monster was not defeated yet. Just as Takt was about to play another melody, a girl in a red dress named Cosette Destiny appeared, drawn to the scene by the power of Takt's music. Takt stood up and lifted his conductor's wand, ready to take on the D2 monster. As he played his music, the people around him realized that he was a conductor, while Destiny was a music art. Together, they fought the blue-skinned monster with all their might, determined to protect the city. Despite their efforts, the D2 monster managed to reach the center of the city. But Takt and Destiny refused to back down, and continued to attack the monster until they had it cornered against a building. With a swift move, Destiny thrust her sword into the monster's chest, defeating it once and for all. Meanwhile, Jimmy's mom rushed to her son's side and hugged him tightly, relieved that he was safe. Takt smiled and explained that what they had just done was music in action. But his triumph was short-lived, as he suddenly felt a loss of energy and collapsed from exhaustion, falling down the building. The lively exchange between Takt and Destiny was witnessed by the locals, who were curious and astonished by them. Their arguments then came to a halt when a girl named Anna Schneider arrived. Anna appeared angry with Takt and instructed them to continue their journey to New York. Destiny nonchalantly tossed Takt into the car and apologized to the locals for any disruption they may have caused. They left the town, leaving the piano behind. After some time, they arrived in a desert on September 3, 2047. Anna scolded Takt and Destiny for their constant complaints, reminding them that New York was still a long way off, and they needed to be cautious and attentive. Anna emphasized that they should not create any problems that could hinder their journey. However, Takt seemed unfazed by Anna's nagging and played with the car glass with his finger in the back seat. He expressed his dissatisfaction with only playing the piano, as he had not heard music in a long time and was eager to play. Takt believed that as long as there was music, they could defeat all D2 monsters. Destiny, hearing Takt's words, asked him for more calories, as she had already finished her snack. Anna apologized for not having more snacks as they could only get them in the city. It was revealed that Anna was Destiny's elder sister. Anna and the group arrived at a restaurant where they were greeted by waiters who were surprised to see them. Anna believed that their current path would lead them to New York faster, but the waitress had a more pessimistic outlook and said that they might not make it there at all. However, a helpful waiter suggested that they take a route through the middle of the city that would lead them to the East Coast. The group then discussed the appearance of the D2 monster and how it had caused chaos in the city, disrupting transportation routes and causing businesses to suffer. The waiter expressed concern that their restaurant might have to close down. Anna, after looking at the map, began to consider a new travel path. Takt, however, felt that Anna's plan was too reckless and expressed his doubts. But Anna was determined to continue and didn't want to hear Takt's opinion. The waiters also warned them about the dangers of traveling due to the presence of D2 monsters. They also mentioned that the transportation routes had been cut off and the restaurant was facing bankruptcy. Anna studied the map and decided on a new travel path, but Takt was skeptical about it. The group then learned about a ban on music announced by GM Shogun, and Takt was drawn to a music box before being stopped by Anna and the waitress. Destiny detected many D2 monsters in their direction and transformed into a red dress while Takt became a conductor. Despite Anna's attempts to stop them, Destiny broke the window and flew away, followed by Anna in her car. Suddenly, a black smoke explosion occurred in the dead city and Takt collapsed in front of the restaurant. Destiny also fainted behind the smoke, causing Anna to catch up with her and express her concern. The next day, the waiters at the restaurant finally realize that Takt and Destiny are the conductor and music art who will help them. However, Takt looks still weak and limp on the table, while Destiny is busy eating. Anna reminds them of their main goal, which is to reach New York and meet someone at Symphonica to fix Destiny. Symphonica is an organization focused on eradicating D2 monsters. Takt still believes that music can save the world, but Destiny recounts the events of the previous day. She fought tirelessly against the endless D2 monsters. But just as she was about to defeat them, giant D2 monsters appeared and overpowered her. Destiny blamed Takt for not providing her with enough calories and not being present as a conductor. Takt defended himself by saying that Destiny was still a broken music art, and he couldn't do much without her being fully functional. Anna became angry and emphasized the importance of not acting rashly and attacking without a proper plan. Takt, Destiny, and Anna were faced with a daunting challenge. They had to defeat a powerful D2 monster that was hiding underground. Takt realized that the only way to lure the monster out was to play the beautiful music they had heard in the city before. Destiny was excited and promised to use all her power to defeat the monster once it emerged. Meanwhile, in another city, Jimmy and his friends were discussing the last music concert they had attended. They admired Takt and Destiny for their bravery in fighting the D2 monsters. Jimmy and his friends wanted to play the piano in the middle of a building, just like Takt did before. However, before they could even start playing, Destiny appeared and lifted the piano with ease. The entire population was left confused and amazed by her agility. When the night fell, Anna became more anxious as they waited for Takt to play the music. She knew that D2 monsters hated man-made sounds, especially beautiful music full of harmony and rhythm. In the meantime, Takt sat down at the piano and began to play the melodious music, which filled the deserted city. The sound was so enchanting that even the D2 monsters lurking underground were drawn to it, and they began to surface. As they emerged, they glowed with an otherworldly light, and the D2 monster that had been hiding underground revealed itself. However, Destiny was standing on a nearby chimney and was suddenly swarmed by a group of angry D2 monsters. The creatures flew furiously around her, but Destiny wasn't intimidated. She transformed her sword into a powerful cannon and engaged in a fierce battle against the horde. Meanwhile, Takt was surrounded by the remaining D2 monsters and had to defend himself with his conductor stick. Suddenly, Takt realized that the D2 monsters were gathering in the city for a reason. There was a black stone hidden somewhere. The creatures were drawn to the stone's power, and they were becoming increasingly aggressive as they fought to obtain it. In the midst of the chaos, Destiny managed to destroy several D2 monsters with her cannon, but a powerful one carrying the black stone emerged. Destiny tried to fight it off, but the monster was too strong and managed to shatter her into pieces. The following day, Anna and the group set off on their journey toward New York, relieved that they could continue without any further complications. However, Takt seemed preoccupied with thoughts of the grand piano and Destiny was busy discussing the hollow donut, much to Anna's frustration. She begged them to focus on the mission at hand. As they continued on their journey, they stumbled upon two new companions, Lanny, a conductor, and Titans, Lanny's music arts. Anna shared their situation with Lanny, who offered to teach Takt the proper way to fight using music arts. However, Takt and Destiny struggled to work together, hindering their progress. Their journey brought them to Las Vegas, where they met an acquaintance of Lanny's named Jonathan. He offered to take them to a farm in Las Vegas belonging to Mr. Long, where he and other locals had taken refuge after being displaced by D2 monster attacks. Unexpectedly, Destiny's detection of a tremor leads the trio to a forbidden area, where they discover a fully operational casino that had been kept secret from the local farmers. Lanny, whom they had met earlier, was already there with Mr. Long. Takt, being curious, decides to play music there, But suddenly a D2 monster explodes from underground. Lanny guides Takt and Destiny on how to defeat the D2 monster efficiently by fighting as if they were holding a musical performance. He explains that this will enable them to use their powers effectively, and with little wasted energy. With Lanny's guidance, Takt and Destiny are able to defeat the monster. During the chaos, Mr. Long tries to escape with his profits from the casino and farmland, but Titans intervenes and stops him. Takt and his companions then journey towards New York. They passed through the wilderness and eventually found themselves crossing a vast desert. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, a commander of symphonica named Felix Schneider was aboard a transcontinental train with his music art, Jigoku. Felix received a report about the appearance of Takt and his music art, and was intrigued. He intended to meet Takt, and so he and Jigoku continued on the train toward New Orleans. It wasn't long before Takt and his companions encountered the symphonica train, which was transporting black stone to their facility in Houston. Felix controlled the car with his music art Valkyrie, who had no conductor. As the two trains traveled alongside each other, Felix and Takt met face to face, and Felix revealed his desire to hear Takt's music. But their meeting was short-lived as the train continued on its journey. Felix then invites Takt and the others to join his transcontinental train, but it was declined by Takt. The train is suddenly attacked by a swarm of D2 monsters drawn to the new black stone being transported. Destiny and Valkyrie leap into action, with Takt guiding them to expel the monsters from the train. After a fierce battle, Destiny and Valkyrie emerge victorious and a newfound friendship between Valkyrie and Takt begins to blossom. However, the battle took a toll on Takt's energy, and when a new wave of D2 monsters appears, he finds himself too exhausted to fight. Just in time, Felix and Jigoku arrive to take on the monsters. Later on, the group arrives in a deserted and decaying town, with Anna noting that it doesn't resemble the birthplace of jazz music. Despite this, Anna decides to stop for some shopping while Takt and Destiny bicker back and forth. Takt, however, notices that Destiny has grown more expressive and evolved, something she happily admits to. In a surprising twist, Destiny even teases Takt for being too focused on music to develop in other ways. Later on, they arrived at a deserted town where they stopped to rest and take a break from their journey. Anna and Destiny went to explore the town while Takt stayed behind in the car. Inside a supermarket, they met a kind cashier named Oro who gave them supplies for their journey, including some free items. Oro also warned them about the dangers of the city, which was now mostly inhabited by seniors. When Oro's back pain worsens, Anna and Destiny step up to help him load up their groceries. In the middle of their errands, Anna answers a phone call from a regular customer named Brown, who is surprised to hear that the girls are headed to New York. Anna and Destiny mention that they have one more colleague with them, and Brown expresses concern about their safety. They then arrive at Brown's home to deliver milk. She greets them warmly and invites them inside. She sympathizes with Oro's condition and promises to contact a doctor for him. Brown remarks that it's been a while since she's seen young people like Anna and Destiny in the city. As Brown prepares apple jam, Destiny eagerly asks to try it, which embarrasses Anna. When they leave Brown's home, Anna accidentally falls through the weathered porch and damages it. Feeling guilty, Anna decides to repair the porch herself. Brown apologizes for not having fixed it earlier and calls her cat, Tom, which piques Destiny's curiosity as she's never seen the cat before. The scene then changes to Takt, who wakes up from a dream of a past encounter with a terrifying D2 monster. As he wakes up, he realizes that he had dozed off in the car and decides to venture out to find Anna and Destiny in the deserted city. As he walks around, he spots a resident entering a bar and decides to follow them inside. The bar is eerily quiet, and Takt soon discovers a staircase leading down to a basement where he can hear music and see a more lively atmosphere. Once he reaches the bottom of the stairs, Takt is surprised to find a crowded bar filled with people enjoying the music. He takes a look around the room before heading to the music cassette rack where he picks up a tape titled Damastern, which he recognizes as the work of Kenji Asahina, his father. The bartender is impressed that Takt recognizes the conductor on the tape and offers to play it. Although he usually plays jazz, he admits to not hating classical music, especially not the entertainment music of Kenji Asahina. He goes on to describe the extraordinary aura that Kenji possesses. Takt was surprised to hear that the bartender was not one of those who hated his father, Kenji Asahina, and was actually a fan of his music. The bartender explained that in the bar, music was like a beacon of light that brought joy and illuminated the hearts of the patrons. He went on to reveal that Kenji had actually performed a solo concert in their city, which had been met with thunderous applause. The bartender believed that music had the power to convey emotions and make history. He believed that while listening to music, people were able to connect with each other and become one. According to him, Kenji was a true maestro who had the ability to communicate with his audience on a deep level through his music. However, one of the customers cautioned the bartender not to get carried away in front of young people like Takt. The customer joked that Takt might be tempted to join their secret group. But the bartender was impressed that Takt was interested in music, especially his father's music. Takt was fascinated by the conversation and the atmosphere of the bar. He realized that music had the power to bring people together and create a sense of community, even in a deserted city. In the end, Takt admitted that Kenji Asahina was his father. The patrons in the bar were surprised and fell silent. The bartender then asked Takt if he wanted to hear another one of Kenji's songs, to which Takt agreed. The bartender played a song called The Star of the Departing Night, and Takt listened intently, feeling a deep connection to his father's music. Meanwhile, Destiny was still admiring Tom the cat, while Anna walked beside her. Suddenly, an old woman named Ellen appeared and mistook Anna for her daughter, Maria. Despite Anna's attempts to explain, Ellen invited them to dinner at her house, where she treated them kindly. Anna was able to understand Ellen's confusion when she saw photos of Maria in the house. Ellen's husband, Eddie, also arrived home, and Ellen excitedly told him that Maria had returned. Despite Anna's continued attempts to explain, Ellen remained convinced that Anna was her daughter. When they finished dinner, Destiny praised Ellen's cooking, and Anna and Destiny said their goodbyes, promising to come back and visit again. As they walked away, Anna couldn't help but feel sad for Ellen and her daughter Maria, who had been missing for so long. Takt then was invited to a local music venue by the bartender, where he was introduced to a man named Luck. The bartender asks Luck to tell Takt about his experience with Kenji, but Luck feels that his story is not special. However, the bartender insists, and Luck begins to share his memories. Luck reminisces about the Rhapsody in Blue concert, and how impressed he was with Kenji. Luck also notes that Takt is quieter than his father, but he speaks with admiration about the time he spent playing music with Kenji. He expresses his regrets about the current state of the world and condemns the D2 monster for causing him to lose his job and everything he had. As Takt prepares to play music, the bar patrons gather around him. Takt manages to impress everyone with his music, leaving the bartender smiling with pride. Meanwhile, in the secret room, Takt continued to play his music, mesmerizing the bar patrons with his talent. Luck was particularly happy to see Kenji's son play, and felt nostalgic as he remembered playing music with Kenji in the past. The bartender smiled as he watched Takt play, knowing that he had made a special connection with the customers. Just then, Anna and Destiny arrived at the bar, having left Ellen's house. They were surprised to see the bar full of people, all captivated by Takt's music. Luck approached him after the performance, and grabbed his hand, praising him for keeping Kenji Asahina's music alive. Even Destiny, watching from a distance, admitted that she enjoyed Takt's piano playing. Continuing their journey, Destiny indulged in Brown's jam while Takt stared at a blank score, lost in thought as he imagined the music he wanted to create. Meanwhile, Shogun received a report that Kenji's son Takt was still alive, filling him with gratitude. Anna and her companions arrived at a town destroyed by D2 monsters and decided to rest there. Takt spent the night thinking deeply about his music, refusing to rest until he had created a new piece. The following day, they arrived in a southern state city evacuated after a massive D2 monster attack. At the hotel, Anna gives Takt an inflatable piano to help him compose a new song, as he is feeling stuck in his writing. Takt takes a break and goes for a walk to clear his head, and comes across Destiny helping local residents in the city. Takt is fascinated by the way Destiny bonds with the refugees, and it inspires him to create something new. Anna explains to Takt that their journey has made Destiny more empathetic and human and that she can be a source of inspiration for Takt's music. Takt continues to work on his composition, while Destiny assists the locals. Later on, at a restaurant, Destiny surprises Takt by revealing that she is inhabiting Cosette's body. She then asks Takt what music means to him and Anna. Meanwhile, in New York, Shogun, the leader of the military, issues a strict order to Felix, warning him not to interfere with Takt's journey. However, Felix is outraged by the ban, as he believes he should be able to do what he wants. Meanwhile, Takt and Destiny continue their mission to defeat the D2 monsters that threaten the city. During their investigation, they stumble upon Felix and Jigoku in the nearby forest. To their surprise, Jigoku possesses the power to attract and summon D2 monsters using a tuning fork that can play certain tones. Felix explains that he has been using Jigoku's power to eradicate poverty-stricken areas, as he believes that those who are not talented should not be allowed to survive. He declares himself a hero, claiming that he will create a society where only the talented can thrive. However, his admission that he used Jigoku's power in the attack that killed music art Cosette enrages Takt, who vows to take revenge. Takt rushes towards Felix in a fit of anger but is quickly overpowered by Jigoku. In his rage, Takt unleashes a powerful emotional outburst that causes Destiny to experience intense emotions for the first time. However, Takt's reckless attack ultimately leads to his severe injury at the hands of Jigoku. When Destiny tends to Takt's injuries, Takt confides in her about how he has struggled to find someone who understands his music since Cosette's death. Destiny listens intently and expresses her desire to listen to Takt's music freely. She understands the power of music and how it can heal and connect people. Meanwhile, Lanny and Titans arrive in the southern city and inform Anna that Felix is after Takt and Destiny. Anna is worried and wonders how they can protect Takt and Destiny from Felix's wrath. The next day, Takt and Destiny return to face Felix and Jigoku. Takt stays calm and focused, directing Destiny's attacks with precision. The battle between Destiny and Jigoku intensifies, but suddenly, they are interrupted by a new music arts named Heaven. Heaven reveals that Felix has been officially fired from Symphonica for disobeying Shogun's orders. When Takt and Destiny arrive back in Anna's company, Takt is alarmed to notice that his right hand, the one he uses to conduct, is weakening. He confides in Destiny that he's worried about his ability to fight against D2, but Destiny reassures him that they will face whatever challenges come their way together. Eventually, Anna and the group make their way to New York, where they are reunited with Anna's older sister, Charlotte Schneider, who works in the engineering development department of Symphonica. They learn from her that New York is one of the safest cities to live in because it is home to the headquarters of Symphonica. Eager to find out more about Takt and Destiny's unique bond, Charlotte conducts research and discovers that the contract between them as conductor and music art is irrevocable. If they continue to fight against D2, it could potentially shorten both of their lives. But Takt and Destiny remain resolute in their determination to continue fighting for the freedom to listen to music without restrictions. While exploring the bustling city of New York, Destiny suddenly hears a sound that reminds her of the tuning fork that Jigoku had used before. Although tempted to investigate, Destiny chooses to ignore it and focus on the task at hand. In New York, Takt and Destiny reunite with Lanny, who reveals that the mastermind behind D2's recent attacks is Shogun. Lanny also admits that he was Kenji's student, and was chosen by Shogun as part of Symphonica after Kenji's death. However, Lanny became suspicious of Symphonica's motives and began to operate independently, including teaching Takt how to become a conductor. During their conversation, Shogun suddenly appears with Jigoku in Heaven, and a fierce battle breaks out between the group and Symphonica's agents. Despite their best efforts, Lanny sacrifices himself to protect Takt, who is running out of strength during the fight. Shogun eventually retreats, unable to keep up with Titan's rage over Lanny's injuries. 2 days after arriving in New York, Takt and his team were caught off guard when Shogun was seen in a room filled with strange crystals. Shogun then activated the crystal by plugging his hand into it, causing more crystals to suddenly appear from underground and damaging the Symphonica main building. To their horror, a massive number of D2 monsters emerged from within the crystals. Meanwhile, Anna and Charlotte were trapped in the main building of Symphonica, with no way to escape the rapidly spreading crystals. Takt and his team quickly became aware of the situation and rushed to the building to rescue Anna and Charlotte, and put an end to Shogun's plans. As they fought their way through the building, Takt, Destiny, and Titans soon discovered that the incident was indeed Shogun's doing. After Valkyrie rescues Anna and Charlotte, Takt and Destiny set out to secure their safety. The two girls are exhausted from the continuous battle against the two monsters. Takt and Destiny plan to go to Shogun's location, but they are confronted by Orpheus, the newly merged form of Jigoku and Heaven. Destiny decides to fight Orpheus alone, urging Takt to go to Shogun's place. The fight between Destiny and Orpheus is intense, but Destiny manages to defeat her with her full power. Following Takt's lead, Destiny arrives at Shogun's location and discovers that Takt is injured due to the side effects of Destiny's full power. As they approach Shogun, they are surprised to find his body trapped in a crystal. Shogun reveals that his plan was to gather all the D2 monsters in one place, New York, and wipe them out en masse. However, Takt disagrees with this plan as it would harm innocent people. Takt believes that music can save everything, including the D2 threat. In short, Takt and his team successfully stopped Shogun's plan to lure and wipe out the D2 in New York City. However, the fight takes a toll on Takt and Destiny, leaving them both exhausted and injured. Destiny, in a selfless act, transfers her energy to Takt, saving his life but sacrificing her own in the process. Charlotte, Takt's friend and fellow music art, decide to put him in a state of long sleep to aid his recovery. Despite this setback, Charlotte continues to search for a way to bring Takt back to his former self. 2 months later, Symphonica, the building destroyed in the previous battle, is rebuilt. Unexpectedly, Anna joins Symphonica as a music art. She is able to become music art thanks to Destiny's relic amulet, which gives her the power to control music and fight the D2 monsters. The anime concludes with Anna taking up the fight against the D2 monsters alongside her fellow music arts, continuing Takt and Destiny's legacy to restore the power of music. The moral of the story is that if you're going to fight monsters, make sure you have a good music playlist and a friend who can turn into a talisman to save your life.